Greetings friends, the Fit Farmer Mike Dixon here, and this is week 2 of growing greens year-round. Each week I plan to share with you an update on how I'm doing in my goal of growing and having greens year-round. I'm following the advice of my friend Ray Tyler from Rose Creek Farm. He's actually putting together, or has put together, a course for growing lettuce year-round. And I have the opportunity to have an advanced screening of that course, and it will be available to the general public next month. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and I'll let you know more about it coming up soon. But just in case you missed it, last week we started our greens. We started some lettuces, we started some kale, and some of those seeds are from Baker Creek, and some of those seeds are right up here. And as you can see, they got just a little bit leggy. And they got leggy because the light was a little bit too far away. So what we had to do is lower the light so they're not having to reach so much for the light. And here's some down here that we did in December just as experiments. And we had the light just right on these, and as you can see, they are growing very well. I also want to mention that for my setup here, I'm using a wire shelving which is 4 feet wide, and on each shelf is 2 shop lights. And for the lights, I have 2 to provide good coverage, light coverage for the plants, for the seedlings. And for the bulbs, you don't have to use one of the special grow lights. You can use T8 light bulbs, the bulbs that go in these shop lamps, and they work great. And you can get these shop lights and the bulbs at Home Depot or Lowe's, and I'll provide that info in the show notes below. I do want to mention that we are growing these indoors, and it is extremely beneficial to be able to do so because I can control the temperature and the humidity. I live in an area where the humidity is high a lot throughout the year, but the temperatures now are too cold outside to try to germinate these seeds outdoors. And for many parts of the country, you can't germinate these seeds outdoors either. And if you do, you get a cold spell that comes through, it's just going to wipe them out. So you're not going to be able to have a lot of success if you're trying to do these outdoors. Another option could be doing them or starting them in a germination chamber. My friend Ray uses germination chambers, and they work very well for what they're doing. This room right here is my grow room. It's dedicated to starting seeds, and I can control, like I said earlier, I can control the temperature and the humidity. And that is very important for this time of year, to be able to keep it warmer than it is outside. But at other times, like in the summertime when it's real hot, I need to be able to keep it cooler. So having the AC in here will help us to be able to continue to germinate seeds even when it's hot outside. With my indoor system here, I basically have 3 options for watering. One is watering from above. You can use a spray bottle, but my hand gets really tired after a while of just spraying all these different cells in these trays, and that's not my way of doing it. Or you can water from above with a mister, and you definitely want to use a mister because you don't want to have too much pressure on watering your seedlings, your plants, because with them being young and tender, too much pressure can kill them. Also, if you're doing microgreens, that can kill them as well. Or you can also do watering from underneath, watering in the tray. And this works best once your seedlings have gotten to the point where they have some roots that are kind of going down. And those roots will absorb the water in the tray and just get the water that they need. However, you don't want to put too much water in there because that will also damage your plants and the leaves will turn yellow, and you don't want that. And then you have third, which is your humidity dome, and these work really well for germinating your seeds. Definitely saves you a lot of time because you don't want your soil to dry out when you're trying to start your seeds, because that will lower and decrease the germination that you'll have in them. So you definitely want to make sure that the soil stays moist and the seed can get the moisture that it needs, and that will also too help with humidity when you are germinating and trying to get your seeds to start. And speaking of humidity domes, these are some of our humidity domes right here, and these are super tough. I highly recommend these. These are from Bootstrap Farmer. They hold up very well. I've bought some of the other junk in the past, and they just don't last. Some of the Jiffies and some of the things that you can buy at Walmart and Lowe's just won't last. So go ahead and get you some heavy duty ones like these from Bootstrap Farmer. They also offer these really neat trays. And when you're watering indoors, you don't want to fear or have the fear of watering your plants, especially if you're watering from below and then the water just seeping on out into the floor. And that could be a really big problem if you're doing it inside your house. That would not be good. And that could also, if you're not seeing the leak and it's just sitting, and that could also cause mold, and you don't want that either. So I highly recommend the Bootstrap Farmer trays as well, because they are really heavy duty. And make sure you get that. And I'll provide the link for Bootstrap Farmer in the show notes below. So that's the system that we have for our indoor system for our germination room, grow room. Well, that's it for week 2. Make sure you keep following along, for I'm going to continue the journey throughout this year of growing greens year round. And make sure you follow along by subscribing and clicking on the bell to receive notifications each time I release, or we release, a new video. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. Grow on! You definitely want to use a mister, because watering from above with too much pressure would be like somebody pouring 100 gallons of water on you from above, and it would definitely knock you down too. And I like to use multiple colors because it just makes your salad pop with extra color, like